A lot of people go and cold call the same stupid list that everyone's doing, and then they expect a different result every time. It doesn't work. If you go out here and do exactly the list I say or the list that works, you'll do well, right? You cold call, your team cold calls, you get deals. If you want to get deals, you're just going to have to work hard. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This isn't my YouTube channel, so I can say things that aren't going to be sexy to say, but you just got to work hard. That's what it is. I know it's cliche. I know everyone's going to roll their eyes, but I get 5-6 DMs every single day of a kid my age with a $30,000 check says, "Thanks, Zach." Go to my Facebook, you go see it every single day. It's like that. And when I go interview them, they always worked hard. No one got lucky. No one spent an hour drawing for dollars and then got 100K. They always worked hard.
Hey, what is going on YouTube today? I'm super excited. We have Zach Ginn on, big time wholesaling celebrity, really. And he is on to share with us story and wholesaling words of wisdom. So Zach, welcome on. Glad to have you here.
Thanks, Fana. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So let's start at the beginning, Zach. Tell the people what your story is. I've got a very young audience who is hungry and ready to start hustling and wholesaling. You were super young like me. How old were you when you started? What got you into it? And how's it going now?
Yeah. So my story is pretty simple. I started wholesaling at 17 years old. Basically, my dad's always been a wholesaler since like 2003, 2004. And I never was interested in it, right? I didn't really care. Then started a bag boy job, wanted some money at 14. 3 years later, I got so sick of it. I just minimum wage, 39 hours a week. They didn't want to pay me full time. And I kept seeing checks on my dad's desk. I'm like, Jesus, how can I do that? And he basically said, "Hey, if you want to learn wholesaling, just go out and get your own deal." And so I went in his library. He had some wholesaling books from 2003. Read it, figured out I can't do any of that stuff. I went to YouTube actually, and every YouTube video said, if you want wholesaling deals, spend 40 grand on direct mail. Or if you want to learn it without any money, go buy my $10,000 course, call here. This was 2016. Like 2016 on YouTube, that was it. They would give you nothing on wholesaling. And I was so frustrated. I'm like, this old book, and then I got this stupid YouTube, like doesn't teach me. And I loved YouTube, right? I was big into watching YouTube videos, and I'm like, great. And so I went back to the book. Book said bandit signs. I'm like, screw it, fine. So I bought every single dime I had in my pocket, $300 on bandit signs, We Buy Ugly Houses. And so basically, when I went to my high school wrestling tournaments outside the high schools, I literally just put We Buy Houses on it. And eventually, I got a call during one of my classes, picked it up. Teacher kicked me out. Person said they want to sell the property. They're moving their job. I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. And so I went back home, skipped class, printed the contract. I found one online. Wasn't a good one. And then I ran out. I told my dad what I was doing, and my dad said, "You can't go." I'm like, "What do you mean I can't go? I'm going right now." He said, "You're 17. You legally can't sign a contract." I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, let me sign it. He said, no, you can't. So he went with me on it. And I'm like, "Hey, my name's Zach." I'm talking to the guy. And he's like, "Well, who's this guy?" And my dad wouldn't say a word. He's like, "Oh, I'm Rick." And like he just didn't want to say it. It was kind of embarrassing, but fumbled through the whole thing. I walked through the house. I didn't know what there's leaks on the ceiling. I didn't know what they were. I just thought they were like brown paint spots. I was the most like newbie guy ever. And then I basically said, "Hey, what price do you want to sell it?" He said, "I think 65. I said, "Can you do 50?" And we negotiated 55. Eventually found a buyer. Basically through the grapevine, putting signs out, things like that, and sold it, made $20,000 in assignment fee, my first deal ever. From there, we invested everything into bandit signs again, and made about 100K before I graduated high school, and the rest was history.
That's awesome. That's a great story, Zach. So your dad had been wholesaling for 15 years, right? And then you brought him on or he forced himself into the appointment and didn't help you a lick on the appointment?
No, not one thing. It was really bad. He was like a guy in the corner, like a puppy. It was terrible. But it was a great learning experience. I actually had to kind of man up myself and make that offer. And
That's
eventually I turned 18. I didn't have to see him anymore. But it came to the point where like we were separate. Like I was doing my own wholesaling deals and we're in the same house. And it was kind of cool. It was a little weird because I was listening in on him like, okay, what is he doing here? Eventually I went to college. I didn't want to go to college, but I got a full ride scholarship. I already got like my AA in high school. I'm like, all right, let me just go through it, do the college experience. And I hated it. And then I learned I can't do bandit signs in college. I'm like, crap, I can't do bandit signs. Like Gainesville is not good for like bandit signs. And I was like, all right, what do I do? And I started cold calling. And that
Mm.
was pretty cool. And so I realized I could do wholesaling deals cold calling. And then I realized I was making a lot of money doing it. And so I sat down in my dorm room 2 to 7 p.m., 5 days a week for a year straight and mastered cold calling. That's really when I started going from like 10K a month to 20 to like 30. It just went crazy because I got so good at talking to sellers. I got so good at cold calling, got so good at it. I bought a dialer, and that was really good. I was making so much money. Semester and a half in, I left. I learned I can take all my classes online, and I have a photographic memory. So when I can just read the textbook and just don't really work too hard on it, I can get like
Really?
A's. So I decided I was going to take 15 to 20 credits every semester. And then I graduated while I was wholesaling. And my dad's like, oh my gosh, like this guy's a killer. And so he brought me in the business with him. We became 50-50 partners. And we started scaling, and now we make millions of dollars every year doing it.
That's amazing. No, good for
That's my
you
full
guys.
story.
And how old are you today?
I am 23 years old.
Oh, okay. So we're basically, are you 2000?
1999.
Okay, I'm 2000. That's awesome. So you wholesaled, you made 100 grand in high school, you went to college full ride. That's awesome. I mean, if you can go to college for free, it's always like, why not, right? What'd you get your degree in?
Business administration, I think.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
And how much money did you make wholesaling in college, cold calling?
I think I was probably at 20K a month, so about a deal a month easily from
That's
there.
awesome. And were you like going on these appointments yourself? Were these in state? Were
All
they out of
virtual.
state?
They were
All
in Port
virtual.
St. Lucie, but I was in Gainesville. And so
Hmm.
I'd have learned how to virtually wholesale, or I was going to make no money. And so I was
Wow.
forced. And my dad never virtually wholesaled in his life. He never cold called in his life. And so he couldn't help me. YouTube didn't help me. So I kind of had to create my own system. And that helped me out a lot when I went back into virtual wholesaling. And
Hmm.
it was insane how to learn it, but it worked well.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of people who ask me every day they're in high school or they're in college or they dropped out or they don't want to be in college anymore and they want to get into this. What did that system look like while you were in college?
So when I was in college, my entire system was I woke up in the morning and I started comping. I started talking to sellers. I just did the whole thing in the morning. Usually because I was in a dorm room, and so I had to share. I had my bed here, and my other roommate had a bed there, and then we had two other roommates. He would sleep in because he was drunk, usually every day till noon.
Yeah.
Um, don't get me started with that. And then I would just do appointments while he's sleeping. He was so drunk, it was fine. And then I'd just go do it, and then I'd go to class, and then come back 2 to 7 p.m. cold call. No matter what, I had all my discipline was doing it right.
Hmm.
All my buddies, I have all these stories. Like they would bring girls back, and they'd be like, "Zach, you got to get out of here." I'm like, "No, I have to cold call." And from 2 to 7 p.m., I've always cold called. I kicked people out. I did it, and
It's awesome.
having that discipline, I learned how to create discipline in my life, and I learned how to get really good at talking to sellers and not waste my
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I learned
100%.
dot loop. I learned DocuSign. I learned how to go over the objection of what if you can't go to the house. I learned how to bring runners through. I learned how to get pictures taking and all these things. And it was really cool of a learning experience. And that kind of led me to when I started YouTube. I said, hey, unless I'm making 100K a month, I am not ever going to start YouTube. This is my goal. And so
Wow.
when I hit that point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a YouTube channel and I'm going to teach everything that YouTube did not teach me. And it kind of grew like crazy because I was the only person teaching it for free. I felt really bad. I learned from my dad who taught me literally for free. And that's
Hmm.
nepotism at its finest, I guess, right? It's unfair advantage. I have all the advantage in the world, right? Of course I can. That's a
Sure.
very privileged point. And so what I wanted to do, which kind of sounds weird, but I don't want to be everyone's dad for wholesaling. And so I'm going to be the guy that teaches you for free. So everyone
Yeah.
has an unfair advantage. And so that led me to being the quote free guy because I taught everything for free and literally everything exposed inside all the courses I just shared. And
Yep.
I learned I make more money JVing deals than I do selling courses. I
Hmm.
don't get in the whole guru game, but like to sell your soul an hour a day for a person giving $5,000 a year is a minimum wage job, in my opinion. So
Wow.
I learned I can make more money by teaching people for free, and that's what I do.
No, that's awesome. I totally vibe on that, Zach. I'm the same way. People have asked me for a course, and I tell people, and then we have the people in our comments who accuse us of just wanting to sell a course. And I reply to those comments and I'm like, you can shoot me if I ever sell a course, because I'm kind of similar. I read up on this stuff, I YouTube this stuff. I never spent a dollar to learn how to wholesale. And I don't think you need to. I think all the information's already out there anyway. So, for me on this channel too, it's the same thing. I'm teaching people how to do it for free because I make a bunch of money on JV too. And I think it's about empowering our generation, right? We're 22 and 23, showing other people how to get rich in real estate, because the money is out there. People don't believe it, but it is out there, and it's fairly easy to get compared to going and getting a college degree and climbing the corporate ladder. You can hustle, you can cold call out of your dorm room for 5 hours a day, and you can make $20,000 a month in wholesaling. So that's awesome. Let's talk about how you are in a pretty low price market compared to me. And I think this is super interesting. Whenever I see people, like, I see your videos and you're negotiating like houses for $50,000, and I can't even get a bathroom for $50,000 in Seattle. How are you squeezing big fees in a low price market? What does that look like? How are you closing them? How are you selling them? What's the rundown in your market?
So it's very similar to your market. I know it's kind of weird. Not a lot of people know about my market, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's Port St. Lucie, Florida. Port St. Lucie, you probably never heard of it. The
Oh,
average price in Port St. Lucie is $400,000. It's about 45 minutes an
okay,
hour
good.
north of West Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
$400,000. This is the shocking part. There's over 250,000 people that live in that market. It's weird. No one knows. It's an insane amount of people living there. No one knows about it.
God.
It's like the smallest big market ever. So it's shocking. It's huge, and that means no virtual wholesalers ever come by. Here's the problem: it's 400,000. That's a con for a lot of people, and there's a ton of wholesalers here. That's where Rick started, right? And the cool
Mm-hmm.
part is my average assignment fee is $40,000 to $50,000, and I get
Nice.
100K deals almost every single month, like one $100,000 deal. Now, when you hear me talking about $50,000 deals, that's all virtual wholesaling. So I learned with only 250,000 people, it doesn't seem like a lot, but you compare it to Seattle, Kings County, it's tiny, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much I can make. Like there's only a couple $100,000 I can make a month wholesaling in my local market. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I run out of postcards to send out every single month.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I learned, I'm like, okay, I have to go virtual. And so Knoxville, South Carolina, I love parts of North Carolina, South Carolina. I love the whole Ohio region. So when I do a $50,000 ARV, it's either going to be Memphis, Dayton, or like parts of Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And then those are easy, right? Those are $5,000 deals mostly, but I can do a big volume for it. So I'm in every metro market pretty much in the country now. And so that's what I do now. So yeah, it's everywhere.
How do you get over the hurdles of virtual wholesaling? Like,
You
everybody thinks you need to go see the house in person, and you can't negotiate a deal with the seller over the phone, all this stuff.
got to be an actor. That's all what it is. I tell everyone you have to be an actor. And what does an actor do? They read the script. Do they deviate from the script? No. And how do you become a really good actor, right? I can say a line, but like if I don't put emotion into it, if I don't really
Mm-hmm.
bring the script out, that's it. So why is Batman so cool? Because Batman he puts his emotion in it, like the Joker, right? I can say the lines, but I can't say it that right way, right? I can sing
Yep.
a song, but my voice sucks. It won't sound good, right? And so the way I found it is if you can say the line, but you can learn how to say it, not what to say, it's amazing. So, oh, can you go by the house? Why can't you go by the house? Like, hey, sorry, Mr. Seller, but the way that we do it is we actually get an agreement first. I don't waste your time or my time, and then we have somebody to go by and look at it. That's just how we work. What's your
Hmm.
email? We'll go send it through right now. And then you just
Right.
say the line I literally have for you. And then boom, 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 boom.
That's awesome. That probably takes a lot of that pressure out of the signing of the contract too, doesn't it? Because
I don't say
it's like,
it's an agreement, not a contract. It's
right,
all about the
of
words
course.
you say. It's all
Uh-huh.
about the words you say because if you look on the scripts on there, you won't say the wrong words. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very subconscious, a lot of the words. It's definitely a science, but the
Mm-hmm.
simpler you make it, the better. It's all a line. It's all a script.
That's awesome. No, I love it because it is really different. Like, I go in and for these big deals, I close it myself. I go to the seller, I print the contract myself. But for you, I mean, and to do this at scale, you have to be able to uh, do this at mass. So no, that's awesome. Tell us about some mistakes you made along the way. What are some big lessons you've picked up in wholesaling?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like an old man saying this, but the biggest mistakes I've always made is just not doing something, if that made sense.
Yeah.
So when I first started out wholesaling, I was going to get into cold calling. I researched everything. I'm like, okay, there's this new thing called texting. Screw that. I ain't going to do that. Right. It's too new. No, I haven't found one guy that did a deal texting. I feel like an old man saying this. I'm 19 years old. I'm like, no one's ever done a deal texting in the wholesaling industry. I'm like, I don't care what this launch control guy is telling me. And so I go back into cold calling. That's what the real men do, right? Wolf of Wall Street type thing. And that's what I did.
Sure.
And then I could have cleaned up so well during texting. And then when I came back with Rick, he's like, how do we make more money? All we're doing is direct mail. I said, well, let's add cold calling. We did well there. And I'm like, screw it. Like, we're making so much money a month. Let's do this. It was Lead Sherpa back then. They gave me $500 a
Yep.
month. I could send 10,000 texts a month, 10,000 texts a day, unlimited, no opt-out language, nothing. I'm like, that's 500 though. That's a lot. But I paid all this money for my skip tracing. And so I said, screw it. Let's do it. And it was our number one lead generation for a very long time until
Wow.
we kind of ruined it, right? I don't want to talk about the owner of Lead Sherpa, but they got very upset with us because they were losing money with how much text we were sending out. But we were making so much money. It's $500 for unlimited. And the biggest mistake was myself is for a year and a half, I didn't do it. That was the biggest mistake I made. And so like I've poured tens and tens of thousands of dollars trying Facebook ads and failed. And I have no regret because if it worked, it would have been amazing. I've done RVMs. I've done SEO, I've done every marketing channel out there.
Yeah.
And the only mistake was the ones I refused to possibly do. Reverse trying for dollars, all these things. I should have done that starting out. I would have done a lot better. But yeah, my biggest mistake, I think, was just not failing enough.
Your biggest mistake was not failing enough. That's awesome because that's what most people fear, right?
Yeah.
So then most of your business comes from where these days?
Direct mail, hands down. It's always been the best because when you have hungry acquisitions agents, it's not about how much money you're spending. It's not even ROI most of the time because I'm making 40 grand on these deals and I'm spending a grand or two. It's ROT. That's going to be my best KPI for my own business, especially when I don't like talk over everyone's head because when you start making millions of dollars, you got to look at it differently. But how much time can my acquisitions people have and how much money can they produce? Because my acquisitions people work 40 hours a week. And then I got too many leads. I get another guy for 40 hours a week. And so the problem is if I just do cold calling, they're only going to make 80 grand a year, 90 grand a year. But how can I make, I feel bad. Like they got families. How can I make them 180 grand a year? We just got to get better quality leads. And so they're on appointments like all day right now. Right. But how can I go from them doing $15,000 deals to $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 deals? And direct mail, it's a little more costly, but they make more money per appointment by doing it. And so every type of motivating factor, direct mail is being sent out for them. And then obviously I got for virtual, then ROI becomes a thing, right? I'm not going to drop tens and tens of thousands of dollars a month in a virtual wholesaling market because it's just, I'm not making 40K a deal there. Then I do the cold calling, the SMS and the others. So direct mail, hands down.
Wow. And you're going through open letter still?
Open letter. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been plugging open letter. So I guess there you go. If you want to get into direct mail, go through open letter. Tell us about how you scaled up from being a single college one-man operation in your dorm room to scaling up to this huge JV and this huge wholesale operation. Where do you think is the point where people should start turning their wholesale hustle into a wholesale business?
Well, I mean, making 100 grand a year is a full-time business for most people. So I look at it like that. If you're doing it by yourself, you should easily make, if you really know what you're doing, $500,000. You can do it by yourself. So first and foremost, when people hear scaling, they feel like, oh, I need to go get all these VAs and get the systems, get an office, do all these things. Unless you're making 300K is most solo, really good people I know. Get to that first and then get really good at everything. And so at 300K, I got really good at everything. I was an expert at marketing. I was an expert at acquisitions. I was expert at dispositions. Now, cold calling 5 hours a day is probably not the best use of my time if I can go do acquisitions. And so first thing I did was I fired myself out of things that made me the least dollar per hour. So ROT, ROI, whatever that is. And so started having people do VAs for calling and then texting. The biggest problem is people don't want to do that, because here's the problem. If I go and cold call, let's say I can produce 10 leads a week. Now, the problem is if I get one VA to do it, the same work, they will produce 6 leads a week. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing money. I'm losing deals. I can never do that. But if you can double the volume, they're not doing 10, they're not doing 6, they're doing 12. So would either get 12 leads a week or 10 leads a week. And then it just scales up from there. And then from there, you get someone for the dispositions, and then you get someone for the acquisitions, and you're kind of out of it. And then you just keep pumping it up. It's all about the numbers. And so get to that 300K, get to $1 million, and then just do more markets and expand. That's how every business in the world works. They get really good regionally, and then they just create new franchises around there.
I think the biggest thing is because wholesaling is seen as like a side hustle, then people don't do exactly that. They don't treat it as a business, and they're just kind of messing around and they're waiting for deals to fall in their lap, and that's why they don't make money, right?
It's all about discipline. You have to work hard every single day. You have to create a schedule. And that's kind of my job on YouTube. I just got to make sure people know how to create a schedule and stick to it. I've told every single person, if you look at, I love history, and the way I look at every single historical, amazing figure or person in life, they always had a plan, and then they always execute that plan. So one person I really love is Martin Luther King Jr. He did a lot of great stuff, but he never did any of that stuff by just going willy-nilly, walking around like, oh, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to make this. He created a plan, and then he executed the plan. You look at Alexander the Great, who conquered pretty much Northern Macedonia, all throughout Persia. He didn't walk around and say, hey, I'm going to take this land. No, he's okay. I'm going to create this plan. We're going to go pincer formation. We're going to do all this crazy stuff. And then he conquered it, right? They made plans. You look at Genghis Khan. He made a plan to conquer, and then he went and did it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So if you're watching this, you want to conquer your financial future for your family, your kids, and your future forever. You have to make a plan. You can't go walk around and say, I'm going to conquer that. No, you have to make a plan. Every single great thing any man or woman has done pretty much at a large scale has always been a plan. Jeff Bezos, Musk, all these great people, they always had a plan. It's a business plan. So you have to plan. If you don't plan, you plan to fail. And you got to treat wholesaling complete seriousness and do it.
100%. No, that's awesome, Zach. You know, the interest rates tripled in the last couple of years here. Has the market affected your business, and what are you doing about it?
It doesn't really affect I make more when the market goes down because I just do creative finance deals, but that is a little more advanced. So I won't talk about too crazy, but interest rates don't really matter for me too much when you're wholesaling, because there's no interest rates when you buy things for cash. Now I got hard money lenders, sure, it's fine, but you got to remember it's all supply and demand. We acquire product, a contract, and then we sell that said contract to a buyer, and we sell our equitable interest. And so, of course, the overall real estate market with interest rates will affect it. But let's say real estate goes from 120, the average house in my market, to 100. And I used to buy it for 100, sell it for 120. I'm just going to buy it for 80 and then sell it for 100. The same in between, I don't really care. And so that's why with inflation, I mean, you charge more and then you sell them for more.
Well, yeah, and the key there is that even if it does slow down, you have these other things that you're adapting on. You're doing creative deals. You are just, you're increasing your lead flow, right? So that when these things are happening and maybe, things are slowing down, a bunch of people leave the business. This really is time to scale up and keep going and hustle even harder, especially now that we're moving towards the end of the year, at least the second half of the year. Is all the people are dropping out. This is our time to get in and do these deals. And you're totally right that, yes, prices have dropped, but you just need to get them lower so you can wholesale. People still need to sell. People still need to buy. Things still need to move. And so there's always a place for the people who are willing to hustle, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the coolest part is Rick in 2009, 10, 11, the worst crash ever. He made more money during the crash than he did before because everyone left and he learned how to adapt. So you got to look at it.
Amazing. Yeah, there you go. Well, Zach, this has been awesome having you on. Thank you so much. What are your parting words for the younger generation coming into real estate today?
Yeah. So I think you said you had a lot of young people, and the way I always look at young people is, especially my generation, our generation, they're either split into two camps. You got the really crazy hard workers, which you see, I know everyone like I don't know any of you look at the business people, the streamers, the athletes are like, they're very hard workers, and there's people that don't want to work hard, right? The cool part about you got those two camps, but they're all under one camp. I don't know one 23-year-old guy or gal that doesn't want to get filthy rich. They all do. There's no one says, I don't want to get rich. They all want to. So they're split into camps that want to work hard and don't want to work hard, but they all want to get rich. And so guess what's going to happen? If I have 100 people watching this right now, 20% of them are inclined to work hard, 80% are not inclined to work hard. The only way you're going to become successful is if you work hard. That is it. And so everyone wants to get rich, but nobody wants to do the work to get rich. And it's not hustling. You know, I know people say the word hustle. Trust me, I did hustle and I do hustle, but it's about working smarter, not harder. A lot of people go and cold call the same stupid list that everyone's doing, and then they expect a different result every time. It doesn't work. If you go out here and do exactly the list I say or the list that works, you'll do well, right? You cold call, your team cold calls, you get deals. If you want to get deals, you're just going to have to work hard. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This isn't my YouTube channel, so I can say things that aren't going to be sexy to say, but you just got to work hard. That's what it is. I know it's cliche. I know everyone's going to roll their eyes, but I get 5-6 DMs every single day of a kid my age with a $30,000 check says, thanks, Zach. Go to my Facebook, you go see it every single day. It's like that. And when I go interview them, they always worked hard. No one got lucky. No one spent an hour drawing for dollars and then got 100K. They always worked hard. So you are not different. You got to work your butt off.
That's awesome, Zach. Where can we find you online?
You can just search Zach Ginn, search Flip with Rick on YouTube. Just search Zach Ginn. It's everywhere.
There we go, everybody. Work hard. Find those deals. Let us know what you need help with. We are here to help. Check out Zach's stuff. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you in the next one.
Appreciate it.